thinking we are live now. Hello, YouTube fans. Wei here from the Six Figure Academy, CEO and co founder of Six Figure Academy. If this is the first time joining us, welcome to the show. It's been a while since we did a Facebook Live. Most of the other times we've been doing it when we're doing our podcast. But what we decided over the last past week, we posed a question to our team, which was, how could we be a better support for our audience? And most of us, if you've been following us at all, you notice the background is a little bit different. Why? Because I'm at home, just like many of you actually are. So if there are extra sounds that come in during this training, please forgive me, because it's not as easy to manage the sound quality when I'm not in my office. But so anyway, back to the conversation that team and I were having last week, which was how can we support the audience better, and what specifically is going on right now? Because how do we not deviate too much from what we're all about? Again, if this is your first time joining us, the Six Figure Academy is all about supporting entrepreneurs. We are primarily a entrepreneur lifestyle coaching academy. We have online programs, we have products, we have audio downloads, and we have, of course, one-on-one coaching to help entrepreneurs eliminate money anxiety. We'll primarily re-engineer the bad money stories that then lead to anxiety, stress, and worry around money. What we found is over the years, when we eliminate that, it's like the keys to the kingdom. We just open everything up. So what does that have to do with the topic today about why is it important to keep a clear mind during stressful times? Well, the question I have for you right now is this: are you a little bit stressed right now? Most of us are to some degree. Why? Because these are unprecedented times. Globally, we have never seen something so significant as an event to create, this type of impact. For those that believe that everything will go back to normal after everything is said and done, you might want to rethink that a little bit. And it's not something to really get all that worried about, because this could be a global shift and change that we all have needed. So I want you to think about, there's a lot probably going on right now, not just probably from a business standpoint as an entrepreneur, because, as an entrepreneur, your life and your business are kind of intertwined. And the reason why we wanted to put this training series together today is part 1 of 3. And then part 2 will be on Wednesday, same time. And part 3 will be on Friday, same time. And today we're going to address why it is important to understand this piece about keeping a clear mind during stressful times. So anyway, I'm getting myself settled in here. In case I get dry mouth, I will have my tea. Green tea to keep the antioxidants high and also keep me, easily caffeinated throughout the day. While you are here, if you are wanting to make sure that you don't miss it and you don't want to put it on your calendar, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, so that way whenever we do another live. And my commitment is, moving forward, we're going to do a lot more of these free support trainings just to help as many people as we can. Even if you're not a student of ours, even if you're not a client of ours, we want to keep doing this as our contribution to helping everybody come out of this together in a better way. So let's jump into the topic. Today's training is understanding why it's important, because the reason why we want to understand why, first and foremost, is that it preps the mind. Like, if you have an intention to maintain a clear mind during stressful times, one of the ways to do that, and a very important thing, is to frame it for your own mind why it's so important. In other words, give yourself that motivation as to why you want to make sure your mind is clear. Because if we don't know why we need to keep our mind clear, the propensity for us to take action steps to clearing our mind is not that great. In fact, we might forget it, being caught up with the day to day. So that's what today's training is going to be about. So if you have any comment, because this is live, if you have any comments at all, Excuse me. If you have any comments at all or any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments below during this live broadcast so that I can address them as they pop up on my screen over here. Now, if you are watching this after the fact, after it's not live, no worries. Go ahead and make comments and questions below. I will get notified and I will address them inside the commentary section. Or maybe I might throw up another follow-up video just to address if there are enough questions and inquiries about what we're talking about in today's training. Okay. So let's talk about why. I mean, we hear about it all the time. It's like, you got to keep your mind clear. You got to stay calm. Well, calm is a byproduct of having a clear mind. Well, first and foremost, the most obvious reasons why it's important to keep a clear mind during stressful times is that it actually reduces stress. If you think of your mind as a container, and if you have unclear mind, full of thoughts, okay, and more importantly, depending on what kind of thoughts, which we will talk about in a moment, if it's cluttered full of thoughts, the ability for you to reduce your stress or be calm because you're too busy maintaining and managing all those thoughts is not going to contribute to your ability to manage your stress during stressful times. Now, are we currently, from a global standpoint, in the midst of a stressful time? As an average, if you think about what everybody else is going through, and if you're watching the news a lot, it will, whether be conscious or unconscious, raise your stress levels. So more than any other time, we want to actually consider having proactive protocols in place to manage the clear mind. When you have a clear mind, you can actually do what we call a stress flow reversal. What I mean by stress flow is that when we start to stress out about things, there is a flow that happens, a flow of thoughts that happen. In other words, in order for us to feel stress, there is a sequence of thoughts we need to have up to the point where we suddenly decide, okay, I am in a state of stress. That flow will continue to flow because our mind, in order to maintain a particular state, we need to be constantly validating. In other words, your mind on an unconscious level will seek out circumstances or evidence, if you will, outside of us to confirm and validate the need to stay in the state of stress. Now, the state of stress is built into our DNA. I mean, it's essentially a fight or flight mechanism. It was meant, when we were designed by whomever or however, to help keep us alive. And over the years, our need to be in that fight or flight mode from a mortality standpoint isn't that great. Although it's a little bit different now, I suppose, with what's going on in the world. Now, during stressful times, we activate that. And then the longer we stay in that state, the longer we stay in a state of fight or flight, which medical journals and studies have found that it raises our cortisol levels and maintains cortisol levels at levels that are unhealthy for us, which is probably why stress is the #1 killer in the United States. So what happens is we want to reverse that flow. In other words, there is a particular flow of thought that takes us to the state of stress. By clearing the mind, you essentially interrupt that flow and you reverse that stress. Okay, so that's why it's important. Another reason why it's important to clear the mind during stressful times so that you can navigate the stressful times better. Okay. So when you're taking care of those stressful thoughts, it actually makes it easier to address new stressful thoughts. Let's face it. When you are in a stressful state or a stressful circumstance, there are no shortage of stressful thoughts that are being bombarded at you from other people, from the news, from the world, or even from ourselves. By having protocols in place to clear the mind, you actually make it easier to address new thoughts that come in that may potentially contribute to your stress levels. Okay? There is absolutely no reason why we can't be in stressful times but not be stressed. Does that make sense? Just because globally we're in a stressful time right now does not mean that we as individuals need to be stressed. In fact, ideally, leaders of the planet should not be stressed out and should be calm and collected so that we can, as individuals and as a unit, if you will, as a collective, make the best decisions. And that's why it's important to have a clear mind, because we make better decisions than when we have a stressed mind. Think about the last time you were completely stressed out. And you're angry about something, sad about something. I mean, there's so many different kinds of stress, but just think of an extremely stressful time. Okay. And think about the time, and because we've all done it, if you've ever made a decision during the stressful time. Okay. And what were the end results of making decisions based on stress? I know for me personally, there's been plenty of times where I made things in the midst of being totally angry, stressed out, or being totally fearful and doubtful, stressed out, or even being really sad and stressed out, or hurt, or feeling guilty about things and making decisions out of guilt or anything like that. And then looking back on, God, why did I make that decision? Why? Because my mind wasn't clear at the time. Every single one of us have had experience around that. So I don't really need to go in too deep as to whether or not that even happens. But the reason why that happens is because our mind is cluttered with thoughts around every single emotion that's contributing to the stressful times. Okay. So what happens when you're clearing out your mind on a regular basis, in fact, if you're proactively doing it during stressful times, it is akin to like taking out the trash. Okay. Now, no, you may not be full-blown panicking, but making decisions under duress, under stress, is akin to making decisions out of full-blown panic, only at smaller levels. But if you do little bits of mini panic decisions, over time, it turns into one big decision that you would have made out of panic. Okay, so it's like taking out the trash. So clearing your mind, really important. If you think about your home, especially for those of us, well, most of us who are staying at home a lot more now than ever before, you might find yourself taking out the trash more often. Okay, well, our mind is no different during stressful times. Think of your mind during stressful times as being quarantined to stay at home as you are right now, as many of us are right now. And then what that means is that your trash bin at home, just in your mind, just as it is at home, starts to pile up more and more. So clearing your mind means taking out the trash. It doesn't need to be there the whole time, because all it is it's contributing to you in an unhealthy way. It doesn't change the fact that the times can't be, it doesn't change the fact that the times aren't stressful. It changes your state so you can make the best decisions during those times so that you can navigate those stressful times powerfully. Again, though we actually work with entrepreneurs around the whole money piece, the reality is this work that we do around clearing the mind during stressful times are part of this process of how we help people open up their prosperity, their money flow. So yes, this does impact your wealth. Having a clear mind, making decisions to help you pivot and adapt to what is going on in the world and stay resilient, does absolutely impact your money flow. Okay. Does it impact your health? Well, we just talked about stress being the number one killer in the United States, if not globally. So if you're able to not be stressed, of course your health would get better. Okay, so that's another reason why. And have you ever tried to manage a relationship, be it marriage or boyfriend or girlfriend, or even with your kids or with friends and family? Have you ever noticed or experienced a time where stress created strain in a relationship, where you inadvertently snapped because you were stressed out about something, or you were terse to somebody about something? Okay. When that happens, well, that's another reason why. So clearing the mind helps you, one, reduce stress by reducing the stress flow thoughts of the flow of thoughts that contribute to stress. So we call that stress flow reversal. Makes it easier to address new stressful thoughts, because stressful thoughts will continue to come in, but it's a lot easier when you have a clear mind, right? If you've ever been to a hoarder house, because a lot of us like to hoard our thoughts and just keep it to ourselves, it makes it really difficult to discern between whether that's new trash, new junk, or old junk. So the more stuff you have in your mind, the more unclear your mind is, the harder and more challenging it is to identify the new stressful thoughts that are coming in. So if you're consistently taking out the trash of the mind, then it'll be easier to handle the new stressful thoughts that come in. Okay. So these are just some of the reasons why I wanted to address that real quick, at least set the framework before we go into part two on Wednesday, which is start talking about how we can eliminate or how we can start to clear the mind during stressful times so that you can actually go in there and proactively take out the trash. In the meantime, one of the most important things to do is to identify what type of trash is going on inside the mind. Okay, because once you do that, a lot of times when you just simply identify what's going on, it starts to alleviate the stress so that you can actually start to see clear. You organize the trash. Have you ever done that before, where you're trying to do some spring cleaning, but you want to organize it in different bags and different piles, and what you want to throw out, what you want to donate, and what you want to recycle, all those different things. But as you're organizing these piles, you start to see the light in terms of what everything's going to look like after things are cleared out. Okay. So there's a couple questions I want to leave you with on today's training so that if you want to participate fully, do these questions, write them down, answer them, take some time to go through it before the part two training on Wednesday. So that way you can get the most out of the next training. Again, it's all free, and it's our way of giving support during these times. And the cool thing about this is that once you integrate some of the process we're going to be sharing with you this week during this three-part series, it's applicable to any stressful time, whether it be in business, whether it be in your health, or in your relationships, or all of the above. So here's the first question I want you to think about and start to write down thoughts or journal, if you will. If you journal, highly recommend journaling. Just the act of writing is a very powerful action in itself. It's a miracle in itself. I can explain what that is later. First question is, what specifically are you stressed out about? If you find yourself being stressed out right now, okay, a lot of times when I ask people, what are you stressed out about? And they say, I don't know. He says, you're just in a state of stress just for the sake of stressing. Okay, so one of the best ways to start to unravel that piece right there and allow your mind, facilitate the mind to be cleared, is to simply ask yourself, what specifically are you stressed about? And if you're stressed about more than one thing, write down all those things. What are the specifics of what you are stressed about? Okay. If you are a bullet point person, want to make a list, make a list. If you are a narrative, kind of a storytelling type of person, tell a story. But more importantly, make sure you answer the question, what specifically are you stressed about? Okay. Once you get that all out of your mind, you get some clarity on what specifically you're stressed out about, because everybody has different type of stressors. This is going to give you the clues on how to unlock and release and take out that particular trash. Is it stuff you need to recycle? Is it stuff you need to donate? Is it stuff you just need to polish off and then it's not contributing to your stress anymore? Is it stuff that you completely just need to eliminate out of your mindset? Okay, so what specifically are you stressed about? The next question I want you to ask yourself is about intention. Okay. Again, remember I talked about, like, without knowing why you want to have a clear mind, it's difficult to keep yourself on a specific motivational track of clearing your mind to be stress-free. So you want to ask yourself this question, like, why do you want to have a clear mind? Now, apart from everything that I talked about, if you agree with it, great. But apart from that, why do you want to have a clear mind? Set your intention. Everybody's is different. Because if you're a stay-at-home mom and you have kids running around, the fact that they're running around, they're raising your stress levels. The reason why you want to have a clear mind is so that you could still maintain proper parenting during those stressful times. Or you have grown kids who are out and you're worried and you're stressed out about their well-being and their safety. Maybe that's what it is. To be able to see clearly and have faith and trust and be okay that they're going to be okay. Okay? So ask yourself this question after you ask the first one is, why specifically do you want to have a clear mind during these stressful times? And then write that down and own it. And the biggest thing is, the more honest and truthful you are during this process, during the course of this three-part series, the more powerful this training is going to be for you. And the better you'll get at managing that clear mind during stressful times or taking out the trash. Okay? So hopefully that was helpful. This is part one. Wanted to drop in and just do a quick why so that we can set the framework for the rest of the training. And that way you can actually get the most out of this week so that for the duration of what we're going through right now, you can have powerful tools to help you manage anything that the world can throw at you. Okay. Well, looking forward to hearing your comments, looking forward to hearing your questions. If not, I will see you then on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, same time as we did today, for the next piece, which is how we can clear the mind, how we can keep the mind clear during stressful times. So look for it then. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss it if you don't want to put it on your calendar. And I will see you then.